What's up, everyone? This is Matthew K. Heafy here for another episode of Fishman Presents. Today, I'm talking to the incredible McRocklin all about his brand new Fishman custom McRocklin pickups. You don't want to miss this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and get yourself some Fishmans. Dude, that is the coolest room. It looks so good. I've seen it in angles, but not seen this slow pan myself, and that looks freaking great, man.
Yeah, we got a few. Hey,
damn!
That's
look at
the
this.
pedal board. Minimalism.
Look at
guitar
this.
cameras.
Look at this production, dude. I look like I'm on a webcam over here. Well, I am on a webcam with you.
I don't think so. You're looking good, mate.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite guitar players in the world that you've heard me talk about for years, Mcrocklin. Mcrocklin, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Wow, thank you for having me, man. This is an absolute pleasure. It's great to see you.
I remember being on the bus.
Looking well.
Thanks. And Corey would always be like, dude, check this guy out. And we'd watch a lot of your playthroughs and your videos and stuff. He's like, look at this playing here. He'd like learn some of your exercises. So freaking awesome, man. And it's been great because I've casually been able to know you through all this stuff for the last bit. But yeah. So
likewise.
Thank you.
Cool.
So we're celebrating today your custom pickups. Can you tell us about the pickups? When are they out? Are they out now? What do they do? Bridge, neck, everything.
All right. Well, thank you. First of all, just launched like literally a couple of days ago. So very, very fresh. Me, probably like yourself, I've been a big fan of Fishman pickups for a number of years now. And one of the first guitars that I converted to having Fishman pickups, I was like, yes, this is definitely my cup of tea, as we say in the UK. Great splits, great leads, great chugs. It was just really good for everything. And then this all kind of just led up to me trying different pickups and just kind of developing my sound and voice over the last couple of years, because I took a long time away from the music industry and guitar in general. And then a splash of color in the Kiesel MCR guitar as well. So here they are the custom series McRocklin set. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And for me, it's just like everything from heavy riffs to aggressive splits. And, you know, if you go on that kind of other split with a clean sound.
Damn.
Yeah, they're just like versatile, you know, and I play a lot of clean stuff, especially on Instagram, but I love heavy riffs and splits, so it was a big ask for Fishman, but we managed to pull it off. And I think just the splash of color kind of goes with the synthwave vibes that I'm really into and stuff. So Sean, everybody, hi.
Man, so deservingly so that you've got a custom. Because I mean, just looking at the setup, looking at how you present yourself, how you do your stuff, this is like, everybody take notes. It's like you have a whole video team to yourself and you're doing it yourself. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's fun, but it is difficult. Especially this is just one style.
Yeah, I'm seeing the camera panning too, and it looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Well, the other type of stream is a stream called Shred Club, which is a complete opposite type of stream / content to this room here. So that's like Shred Club is a totally different vibe actually, but that's even more work. But it's just a lot of fun. It's just a blast, you know.
I mean, the proof of how damn good these pickups are, we're on a Zoom call from across the world right now, and your guitar tone sounds absurd. This is the best guitar tone anyone's ever called me with, ever. Yeah, it sounds so damn good.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing, man. But yeah, so we should go way from the beginning, because we've known each other casually. I hope that we're able to properly hang next tour that we're over there. But
that'd be awesome.
Take us to the beginning of McRocklin, before McRocklin became McRocklin. And is that your last name?
Oh, go... well, yeah, that's a good question. So McRocklin, that name came about when I was 8, but I started playing guitar when I was like 4 or 5 years old. My dad had a guitar in the house. He wasn't like a shredder or a virtuoso, but he was into rock and metal. So he had a guitar around, and every time he'd go to work, I would pick it up and probably make like silly noises on it. But eventually he taught me some chords, and I think like probably a lot of people here, once you make that sound or tone or play a chord progression in time and it sounds like a song, it was like boom. And this was like when I was 5 or 6 years old. He learnt me, I think it was the chord progression for The Boys Are Back in Town. And just once I got that down, that was it. I was hooked. And back then there was no distractions, no crazy tablets and computers and games. So the guitar quickly became my ultimate pastime. And by the time I was like 7 or 8, I was playing 10, 12 hours a day. And then this kind of led to a bit of a spark. I did some little sort of gigs in pubs and stuff like that. And then very quickly, a bit of a whirlwind sort of took place. My dad was just like, he was really ambitious, but not afraid to try anything. And somehow he got me to go to see Ozzy Osbourne. And then somehow I was like 10 minutes later, after just being hanging out outside to potentially go see the show, I was on the stage kind of checking out the amp tones, and then Ozzy walks out and he's like, shit, what's going on here? This kid's got to open up tonight. So all of a sudden I'm like opening for Ozzy. I'm like 8 years old.
Damn.
And then this sparks off like TV stuff and all sorts of, just crazy stuff for the next X amount of years. So yeah, I mean, it's a big story and there's a lot of stuff, but it all started with just being obsessed with playing guitar and my dad being really, really supportive, and then him just chancing a couple of, key opportunities, a little bit of luck, I'm sure, along the way, and just going for it, Yeah, I was always really shy, really shy and really quiet, but every time I picked the guitar up, I would just, no matter what the situation, just go for it.
Man, that's so amazing. What an incredible story. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you can really hear it. It's speaking through your playing. Like, you have absolutely put in the time, like exactly what you're supposed to do. So any like young guitar players or aspiring guitar players need to look to this man's example.
Oh, wow. Thank you, mate. Thank you. And it was really interesting because, all of that stuff led to me working with Steve Vai and doing the video with Steve Vai and getting signed to Interscope Records and then a band and touring with Joe Satriani and all of that side of things. But to cut, quite a lot of the story out of that, ultimately, by the time I was 15, 16, 17 or so, I was kind of really into a different type of music. I was really into drum and bass and hip hop, and it was very difficult to integrate the guitar, and I did so much when I was younger, I almost felt burnt out with the guitar. So ultimately, by the time I got to like 17 or 18 years old, I actually completely stopped playing guitars for almost 20 years. I didn't touch a guitar.
Wow.
Just production and mixing and mastering and everything else with music, but no guitar at all until 2017 is when I started again, and that's when that obsession returned and the love of playing the guitar. When you pick it up, it's like, it just always makes everything feel better, I'm kind of back in that sort of zone again with the guitar. So
that's incredible. I had no idea you stopped for 20 years.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, it was really rough. The first time I picked it up, I went down as playing maybe 10 minutes in 3 months, 10 minutes in 4 months. It was a really, really tiny amount of guitar during this period that I was away from the guitar. Every time I'd pick it up, it would be like, I felt like a beginner. My dexterity, the power, I would still have these ideas, but I just couldn't execute it, So whenever I got back into the guitar, I knew it would be a big upwards journey to kind of get to that point of, where you can really express yourself on the guitar, But yeah, so a lot of work and a lot of effort, and it was actually a really great opportunity as well, because ultimately when I returned to the guitar, I kind of continued with the sounds and the type of playing that I did when I was a teenager, but I quickly realized that I actually wanted a really different sound, and that led to me practicing and working in a specific way, and that kind of led to the sound and approaches that I use now. So yeah, but no more big 20-year breaks, Mac. No more 20-year breaks.
No, that's so amazing, man. I'm like just enthralled by that. And yeah, the way you do all of this, like in addition to the production, like even the way you speak, it's so like trained in a great way. Like you feel comfortable in the way you speak, and I really like that. I like it. Like I'm feeling like I'm watching like a clinic myself right now. That's awesome. That's awesome. Keep it up. I love it. I love it.
Very kind. Well, honestly, it wasn't that way. I mean, earlier, when I returned to the music industry, I could barely look at a camera. I mean, honestly, I would shoot videos and I'd have to make sure, like, I've got 2 kids and a wife. I'd open the door. Are they anywhere near? Start recording. It was terrible. It was so cringe.
Yep.
It's like, oh. But, you know, like yourself, the more you just do stuff and just get on with it, you know, and you ultimately learn to kind of relax in front of the camera and, you know, kind of have fun and just be yourself, really. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like a side effect of doing something at least correctly and decently, the side effect is you will get better at what you're doing. And it's funny you mentioned the kids thing, because I remember the same too. When I first started streaming, I was like, oh man, I either didn't, when they were newborns at a point, it's like, I don't want to wake them up, and then I don't want them screaming at it. But actually, on the Ibaraki record, on the song Komorebi, you can hear Akira like playing and like screaming, like playing in the background of the record. And it's actually on the final record. I didn't realize till we're mixing it. And now I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I'm like, this is so great that that's on there. So yeah.
It's amazing. Little magic moments like that. Yeah. Happy accidents. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're the best.
Absolutely. Your playing has always really been captivating to me, because it's like, it's very pleasing. I don't feel like there's anyone else that really plays the style that you play. This kind of like super tech but soulful at the same time. Like, it's the dad solos that I always talk about and smile about, because I love that. I love that sound.
I've heard
yes,
that. You know, I've got your stream on a lot in the background here.
Thanks,
you know,
man.
it's like it's there a lot.
Thank you. But you're also able to just absolutely rip, and that's where, like, I feel like both Corey and I have been so drawn to your playing. You mentioned the earlier loves of like kind of like the hip hop stuff you're listening to before the break. And excuse me if I've missed this, but have you played along with it all, trying to see what that sounds like in your clean McRocklin style?
I love it. Yeah. So for me, like when I'm sort of freestyling and playing on a guitar, like one thing I love to do, just put random beats on. So a lot of the time when I'm playing, I'm kind of imagining different lines and stuff, you know. So I'm gonna just pull that camera out a little bit. So so if I'm going. You know, whatever it might be, I could just jam around with stuff like that forever, you know, just going round and round and round. I love it. But I do imagine almost like verses and kind of phrases, you know, when we're doing that stuff. Hey, Carl's in the chat there. Thank you. It's great to see some guys from my Discord as well. Thank you, guys.
That's awesome. Man, this is like the most entertaining chat I've ever done for me, because I'm getting a show. This is freaking nuts. I'm stoked. I love it. What are those effects you're running? I hear there's obviously an octaver running. It sounds really great with your pickups. What is
right.
that?
I'll show you the board. Yeah. So for my board, first of all, it changes all the time. So I do a lot of videos for YouTube members, and I feel really bad because I get so excited. I love the gear, and then one day I'm like, right, so this is the board today, and then 2 days later, another YouTube members video. Right, so I've ripped this off the board, and now I'm like, they're gonna think I'm absolutely just mental. But right now, I'm really pushing as much into the software as possible. We switched over to a Mac Studio a couple of months ago, and you know, I have things like Quad Cortex and amps and load boxes and gear, but we're trying to pivot towards just a lot of big software sort of chains. So I'm using Ableton, but the hardware side of things is I have right now 2 live logics, and the cool thing is this whole left live logic just does amps and variations. So for example, if I want a really nice Neural DSP Corey 1 sparkly clean, but if I bank up, I can go to another variation of that plugin with a bit more crystally echoes on it. You know, there's loads of variations of those. The second one is the Tone King by Neural DSP. Now I've got a heavier tone, and then a lead tone. So that one's actually using the Nameless plugin, and this one is using the new Rabia plugin. I thought, check that out. So I mentioned having different variations. So if I go to the next bank up and I hear it again, I can have feedback. So just having those options is really, really cool. And then I have things like stutters on this side, pitch downs, and then if I want extra reverb whilst I'm playing in a track, echoes, lo-fi effects, and of course, you know, we're all into games in one way or the other here. Gotta have a little sample on there. Just a lot of fun.
Dude, that is so cool, man. Like, I just was thinking when I was watching this, it feels like, you know, when you were a kid and you were watching like your favorite guitar players, like VHSs, like the Yngwie one or the Petrucci one, like their instructionals, like, hey, here's how you do this, this, and this. It feels like I'm getting an interactive, like, I just bought the VHS or DVD. I'm like, hey, what about that effect? This is, I'm having a blast.
Oh man, that's very kind of you.
Oh, this is amazing. And it's
kind.
it's like some of the nicest tones still. Again, everybody, this is a Zoom call that I'm listening through, compressed audio. Everyone's listening to compressed audio on Twitch. And the tones are absurdly great. They're phenomenal.
you.
So, damn.
I'm a complete tone junkie, much like yourself. You know, I've heard some rhythms and gain sounds, and I've just, like I say, I've got your stream on a lot, and I keep peeking to see where the tones are from. And I think if you're really into tones, like we both are, and we've got an ear for the gear, you know, it's like I probably feel exactly the same the way about your tones as you do about me. We're just both into the same. Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
You know, we have that kind of that thing in our personality, which is like, it's like when you get used to good coffee, you know, you just can't go out and have a certain coffee. It spoils every other coffee,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. Yeah, if I'm hungry and there's not a good option, I'll just have like something really unfun, super healthy. It's like, I'm not going to waste my appetite on something that's not going to feel good.
That's it.
That's really cool because like I've talked so much about gear to my channel when I do clinics, and you and I talk about gear, and you reaffirmed a point that I've always talked about. And I remember the best example was off It Might Get Loud, and if Jack White was talking about his favorite guitar, and he has this like plastic $250 guitar from his childhood, but that's the one that inspires the riffs, and he makes it sound right. He makes it sound good. And you've shown again that what's encouraging, and also discouraging, but I think more so encouraging, that there is no right or wrong answer. And the fact that all your tones are like software tones, they sound phenomenal through what we're doing. Like the main purpose of them is to listen through like a streaming platform, like you said, your YouTube members. Is that your main portfolio right now?
School of McRock is probably where I put most of my focus. So School of McRock is my online platform where every week I release a brand new lesson, and really it's about giving as many unique insights as possible without it being boring and time consuming. You know, before I made School of McRock, all of the major courses, the most major course providers, they wanted me to do guest lessons and courses, and I checked out a bunch of content, and I like after 5-10 minutes, I was like, nah, I can't deal with this anymore. I've got a really short attention span. So the idea is with School of McRock is every lesson, it's really short, like 15-20 minutes maximum, broken up into 4 sections, and it just goes straight to the stuff that has a massive impact on your playing. So guys that maybe have been playing 10 years and they feel like they've stagnated, or they're just playing the same licks and riffs over and over, it's like perfect for them. But also at the same time, if you're just starting out in your first year of playing and you want to make sure you're using the right techniques so you don't waste 10 years, it's also really great for that. But yeah, so I guess School of McRock, that's like my main platform, and then YouTube and Instagram. I guess Instagram technically was, because I was pumping out tons of like specific Instagram posts whilst I was practicing guitar, so it turned out to be like, until recently, a really good platform to just post the progress of my playing, because when I took that big break, well, every day I was suddenly playing for hours and hours and hours, so it was a good opportunity to almost document some of the silly licks I was working on and try and make a little viral video from them. And as a side thing, I got better at video editing, and that helped with other types of content, so it all kinds of feeds into it. But I'm trying to get a little bit more consistent, I think, with YouTube, and that's where I'm streaming on and stuff like that, which is really fun.
That's fantastic.
I do love Twitch though, man. I was streaming for about a year on Twitch, and the community and the vibe was just, it always improved, every day. I was just had a lot of fun, the chat and the interaction, which is what I love about live streams. As you'll know, it's just great, and yeah, it's good vibes though.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's interesting how Twitch is so positive. Like, I feel like of all the socials that I have, like, that's the one that feels 99% positive most of the time, which is amazing. But that's so amazing. So what's the hyperlink for the School of McRock, so we can post this in here so it's in the video and everything?
Amazing, yeah. Just schoolofmcrock.com. That's it. Yeah. You can download. We give free toolkits. So if you just want to taste 6 really, really popular lessons, some really cool free stuff, you can download that. You don't need any card details. If you want to take a 14-day free trial and take the whole site and community for a spin, you can do that. Again, 14 days,
that's so
no
cool.
charge. Full membership is like less than a coffee a week. It's like we try to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. But yeah, if there's anybody here, they want to just take the free toolkit, get some free lessons, take a free trial as well. Check it out.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. That's really cool, because I would agree, as far as now there's so many options for learning guitar across all these different apps, all these different sites, all these different membership things. It's a flood. Like, I can only imagine how difficult it'd be for someone who wants to learn how to shred like us that just doesn't know where to go. So, just hearing, again, back to complimenting you more, the way you speak, the way you present yourself, the way the room looks, the way your organization is, you can tell you're a very organized person. So everybody, make sure you check out schoolofmcrock.com if you want to learn how to shred from the guitar player that makes both Corey and I's jaws drop. I gotta ask, do you have any, because I do, and this is why I always like to ask, because I feel like looking at your organization, especially the pedals, the guitars, how everything's so meticulous. OCD, a little bit of ADD, correct? I'm massively both.
I can leave the house and not really worry too much, but I think for me, just having everything in order and ready to go, especially, I'll literally flip this entire room around and it's a completely different stream. We have like a wall-to-wall green screen system which has dedicated cameras, dedicated gear for that entire stream.
So
it's
cool.
Totally different. Yeah, it's a totally different production. So we have to have everything. Previously, it used to take 2 or 3 days to switch to that stream. It was such a mammoth task, such a pain in the ass. Every time we'd change around, it'd be like, oh, here we go, 2 days of ripped cables. So that's been the task of the last couple of months, and we've just literally nailed it. And it's like, it's looking really cool. It's set to return in September. It's so much fun. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I come in here, coffee down. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I'll straighten AirPods out. I'll straighten memory cards, and everything is in its place.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think yeah.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling, but I think it's a good thing, because it's like in life, like, we all have these different things, and we figure out how to use what we would maybe look at as a deficit to our advantage. My wife and I both speak that a lot. She told me she recently found out she was ADD, and I was like, I have to be too. I think mine's like on this, because I believe that ADD, ADHD are all like on a spectrum of ADD now. Like, I think a lot of the traits that humans have, and I think because of that OCD, it counteracts it. So sure, I might get diverted, but I have to finish this. Then I come back and finish this. But I could tell by again, the meticulous look at the room. What I want to see is a room tour video. I want to see a room tour video of your setup, your stream setup, your content creator setup, because it's amazing. Like, everybody, check this thing out.
Thank you. Yeah, I do those on YouTube, but I think an updated one, since the recent changes have come into effect, I think that will definitely happen very, very soon.
My room looks like
hell. I love it,
My room looks like hell. Like, seeing your room and looking at my room, like, oh man. And normally I'm very good with that, but since having twins, like, I basically have just been in here, and it's, they're kind of
difficult. How old are they?
They're almost 4, so 2.5 to 3.5 has been nuts. How old are your kids?
Mine are a little older, so one is almost 9 tomorrow, and just not quite, and the other one's not quite a teenager yet. So we're still at that age. So, but a little bit older than yours anyway. So we're at that point where I can get the time to come and shoot stuff and edit stuff. But yeah, I know that 2 to 4 stage, and it can be rough. I used to have Mike come in and like literally just rearrange my pedal board, and I'd come in and I'd be like, whoa, never mind the settings, like everything's in a totally different order. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, yeah.
Now it's been a matter of me
Chaos.
finding what they can play with. So it'll be like, oh, what about this, this, and this? Like, all right, you can strum all the guitars, you can grab a pick, you can change the lights, the pedals. Please don't change the settings. Please don't change the settings.
Don't do those. I'm sorry, I'm gonna.
Oh, no worries. What city
Thank
are
you.
you? What city are you originally from?
I'm from Newcastle. Yeah, so.
Geordie, way I'm on.
There we
Yeah.
go. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Alright.
So I used to have a really strong Geordie accent. So when I first started going to the US, and my dad's from Scotland, and he had a heavy Scottish accent, the guys in the States, they couldn't, between the two of us, sitting on a live breakfast TV show, they didn't understand a word neither of us was saying. And I was really shy, and I would splurt out something that was thick Geordie. My dad would look at me, and he would try and explain what I was meaning, but then he would say it in like a really thick Scottish accent. So I think they would just be like, just give him the guitar, please, and just let him get on with some playing. It was the most awkward live TV shows, you know. So
If you could find those, that would be some serious content. Like you reacting to those, you playing those again. Now, I've always had a very fond place in my heart for Newcastle and for Geordie. Like, because whenever we play there, I always try to say like Yorit, way I'm on, like all those things. I've just befriended a lot of people that were from Newcastle specifically.
That was for your Yari. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Our first UK show ever was at, where was that again? Wolf's Run Hall in Wolverhampton, which I believe is pretty close to at least Geordie-ish area. And then we spent a lot of time in Newcastle, especially when we did the maiden tour in 06. I think we had like a day or two off in Newcastle.
Okay.
And just always loved
place.
that area. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the actual city, it's had a lot of renovation over the last 5 years or so, and it's become a really, really nice place. We have this place called like the Quayside, and food markets, really, really cool, just nice views. And when you go down there, when the weather's good, it's a really nice afternoon walk out. Really
I
good.
can't wait. The UK has always been like where I felt like where I grew up, so I've missed it so much lately.
Wow. No, it would be great to catch you over here sometime. That would be lovely.
You got to come out. Tickets on me. Passes on me. They'll be January, the first return in ages. But anyways,
is that when it's happening?
Yeah. This is the third time the tour has moved. It's Trivium Heaven Shall Burn, Malevolence for the UK, and then Europe we add an Obituary in the second slot. So Trivium Heaven Shall Burn, Obituary, Malevolence, and that's gonna be a good one.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Did you move around a lot? So when you were first originally from that area, what was the ping pong?
My dad used to move probably every year all around the area in Newcastle. We were always, from school to school and from house to house, and it was just non-stop. We never really felt settled. And then, of course, by the time I was 8 or 9, every 3 months I was going to LA, sometimes New York, but mostly LA. So until I was like 17 or 18, I finally got my own place. I was bouncing around all the time. It was just non-stop. But that period where I had that really strong Geordie accent, and then I started going to LA, and then I was at that age where I was picking up the American twang and accent so quick, and that meant for a really, really just a weird accent.
Scottish, Geordie, LA, yeah.
Oh, mate, yeah. It was, around the time that I was staying with Steve Vai, that was the sort of the weirdest. There's a couple of MTV clips, and even now I'm like, what the hell am I saying there? Because I was just coming out of that super shy phase. I had the Geordie / a US. It was just a mess, yeah, complete mess.
That's awesome. I love it.
Now it just comes and goes. Yeah.
That's great. Now, if someone, let's say one of the viewers, whether on the Fishman YouTube or my Twitch live, if they wanted to get their first proper introduction to McRocklin, what would you show them first? What's like the pinnacle of like, hey, I'm getting this new person into me, and then they'll go out from there?
What?
Whether record or piece of content, like what would you say is like, this is the introduction to who I am?
That's really an interesting one. I honestly think the school, that's what I've really been focusing on the last 18 months or so. I've got records on Spotify called New Beginnings. I have a band called McRocklin and Hutch, which is really nostalgic synthwave music. But I think to get an idea of my personality, my playing, and to see it all broken down clearly, I think it's got to be School of McRock.
It's awesome.
But I am feeling really, really kind of like the inspiration just goes up and down, and I'm really feeling super inspired with everything at the moment, and I'm working on another solo record, and that's been really, really fun, just trying to just work through that as well. But yeah, if somebody wants to go somewhere to check out a bit more about me, I think School of McRock is probably the place right now. And like I said, you can check out a bunch of stuff for free as well, you know. So
that's amazing. I remember when I was considering, I was thinking about, like, I've always wanted to have my version of Rock Discipline, Petrucci's Rock Discipline. And I was looking around everywhere and just seeing all these things. I was like, this made it, like, seeing other, whether apps or websites, other guitar players, things made it kind of discouraging. Then I looked at your website extensively, like, this is the best presentation I've ever seen of this. So yeah, which is really cool.
No, the team is super talented, and you know they're really into it as well. And I think that, you know, if you surround yourself with people that are talented and enthusiastic, you know, much like yourself, everything just grows, you know. And I'd much rather offload many parts of responsibility to people and just bring them all into the fold, as opposed to just trying to sit here and tirelessly do every little thing myself, because you'll never get anything done that way. You'll just be like sitting here killing yourself for for no point at all.
Yes, I very much so agree with that, because you know, you and I see it both. Like, a lot of musicians kind of try to DIY everything of what they do, where I feel like there's a facet of, and I like to hear that you will rely on experts. That's the same thing we do. If we're doing a record, I want to rely on a producer that's an expert. Even though I could produce someone else's record, I want that outside eye, ear, brain to help me. And it's always nice to lean on the experts, because it frees up more time for what we need to do best. And the things that we want to DIY, it's good to DIY.
100%. No, I'm absolutely with you on that one. I just saw a great comment there. School McRock, Matt guest lesson. If you're ever down for a little riff or a solo, whatever you like, Matt, it would be such a pleasure sometime in the future to have you do a little something for the guys. That would be absolutely beyond wonderful. It would be amazing.
That would be awesome. I already know the riff, because this one has stumped so many guitar players. I'm curious. I'd like to show you the riff and see how you do on it. It's the rhythm guitar part of the verse of Trivium's Suffocating Sight. Like, I've had great guitar player friends that can shred me under the table, that are just ridiculous rhythm guitar players, great stamina for down or alternate picking. But there's something about that verse that's tripped up some of my closest guitar player friends.
I like it. Yeah. It's amazing, because it's a totally different skill, you know. So, like, being tight and articulate with your rhythm playing, you know, that requires so much talent within itself. You know, I never really got the term, he's a rhythm player, you know, it's just like, exactly like you said, you can put somebody that's a phenomenal shredder on, and then they might try this riff, and it's game over, you know?
Yeah, it's finding what you love, and I think you have such an iconic style. It's always great, without using words or a voice, for a guitar player to be recognizable through their sound. And that's you know, the other aspect that, you know, kids don't always think about, is the hands. Your hands sound completely different than mine, and that's the fun of guitar players, that we can hear their soul through their hands. Like, 100%. If we played you through my rig exact it is, and I teleport and play through your rig, it would sound so different and so unique, and I think so fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And the prep work you were talking about, that's something I try to exist in everything. I took some, you know, food has always been one of the biggest inspirations for me in my life. And mise en place, that's what you do. Put in place. So everybody incorporate some mise en place to your life, like McRocklin and I try to do. Yeah, it just has the prep work. So that way you're like, I need to do this right now. It's ready to go. I don't have to flip this around like the green screen. Very cool, man.
Yes, yeah.
Man, sorry, I'm just so hyped by this. This is a very exciting chat.
No, that's cool. And I love the fact that you're so into the food side of things. It's something. My dad was always really into organic everything, and you know, people back in the day thought he was crazy because he was the first guy in the area buying water in a bottle. You know, they were like, they were like talking about him like he'd lost his mind. You know, he was just always like on that side of things. You know, and then we found a health store, and then they brought in some really, really cool things, and then it was just really, really different. So I've had that background of like trying to be healthy, but like a lot of people, my diet has just gone up and down, and right now I'm trying to completely get back to being healthy, playing basketball, skipping, doing some running, whatever I can fit in, because it is really easy to wake up in the morning have whatever breakfast, come here, sit at the desk, slouch, 8 hours have gone by. It's just so easy to fall into that trap, So I've tried to get back into shape, and I started doing that maybe around about 6 months ago, and already just starting to feel much more energetic and happier, It's
Absolutely.
Just, I feel like it's easier to get in that creative zone and stuff like that, and to tick off all these daily lists and stuff, stuff like that. I'm just, I feel just more energetic and more creative, and just eating well and being excited by what you're about to eat, and not just settling. Like you said earlier, that was like exactly hit the nail on the head, where you'd rather not just kind of fill up on crap just for the sake of eating, but just absolutely just hang tight and get something nutritious and hopefully tasty and stuff. So
we got to treat the instrument like we treat our instruments.
100%.
Treat the human instrument correctly.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Scotland, I'm not sure what city your dad's from, but Glasgow, there's a restaurant called the Butterfly and the Pig. It's one of my favorite restaurants in all of the UK. But they do like really nice, like traditional Scottish food, but kind of like it's presented not even in a modern way. It's like a modern traditional place, but their haggis is insane. I'm obsessed with their haggis there.
Next level haggis.
Yes, I'm obsessed with it. It's so good.
Yeah. Nice.
We should chat again about the pickups. So where can people buy the new McRocklin custom set? Where do you encourage them to buy it?
Yeah, absolutely. So they are so brand new out. Obviously, we have been shipping these in Kiesel guitars. So we've got guys that already have them in their hands. Fishman have links on their website. So I would head to the Fishman site. At some point, they'll probably be on my store as well. But I believe Sweetwater have them listed. Some of the guys in our Discord have placed orders on there. We've had some guys trying to get them in Ireland, and I think maybe they got them via Toman. Seems to be the place in Europe. So hopefully Fishman's webpage will keep getting updated as more retailers have them in stock. But I'm just so happy with how these turned out, because, as you've heard, I heavy tones, clean tones. I needed a pickup set that just did them all, but had that splash of fun with the purple and stuff as well. And really pleased with how they turned out. Let me show you another guitar, because we have other guitars with them in now. Whoop.
He's got the Herman Miller too. He got the good chair.
Got to look after the ass,
Yes. That's why, like, I stream about 99% of the time I'm standing.
Yes. This is why I love Shred Club as well, because Shred Club is all standing.
Yeah.
So this is how they look in a very vibrant. That
is such a killer guitar. I love that color. I love loud pink. I was wearing a pink jersey in the morning.
Oh, nice.
That looks awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of, that is sick.
That looks so damn good.
I'll show you one other guitar.
Please, yeah.
For all of the guitar geeks, I don't know if you can see much of the guitar wall here.
I heard the dad being summoned.
Yeah, I heard something. I think we've got other people around it, so we're probably good. But
that universe is so sick too. I grew up with.
That is. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Was that from him?
Yeah, this is the very guitar that's on the Passion and Warfare CD and record.
That's
the
so
one that you see on the floor.
That's so sick.
That is the very guitar.
That guitar is like the reason why extreme death metal and tech death got the way it got, like that old universe. We did our record with Jason Sukoff, and he was in this band called Capernaum, this tech death metal band. I did vocals on it when I was like 16. But I remember Trevor from Black Dahlia always told me that was his favorite record. That was the record that made him want to play like kind of tech death. But it was everyone was playing those old universes, and they're so coveted now. You can't find them, and you have basically Excalibur.
Yeah, this is the prototype that they made for Steve before the model went into production.
Damn.
So it's like, on the record, it had the handle airbrushed out after a while because they weren't going to put it into the production one. But it's a very
so sick
vibey guitar. You pick it up and it's weird because most of the Passion and Warfare record was recorded with this guitar, and it's just, you can feel like
what a sick guitar, man. That is so cool.
It's crazy. It just has like that unusual energy about it, you know. I don't play it very often, but it's like insane.
Would
And the
he
other
be
guitar
bummed?
that's-
Would he be bummed if you did the McRocklin signature in that scheme? Because I think I could picture that.
I would like that. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think he would. Yeah, that would be fun, right?
It would make sense too for you over anyone.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And then this Flame is the other guitar that Steve gave me for my birthday when I was staying with him. So, you know, Steve had like a guitar vault. So like, of course, between recording tracks, I would go to the guitar vault and pretend I was in David Lee Roth. You know, get all the guitars out.
That's
But
so
this,
cool.
I think, I love this guitar because it's like the pickups just really become the focus. You know, the guitar's like really kind of dialed back. You feel the wood. And this is a signature MCR6X, which you can get on the Kiesel website. But I just really like it because like the pickups just draw you to, you know, where they are and the sound and the look and everything. So I love the fact that the pickups work in very loud colors and they don't become garish, you know, because having purple pickups, if it was the wrong shade of purple, it would just look a bit naff, as we say over here. But you know, fortunately, that shade of purple that we selected, it works really cool and really loud guitars and more muted guitars like this, you know. So
Yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
like it. Let's have a listen to them.
I wish I could play like that. I wish I could play like that. Damn, man. What are the voices on this? So is there a push pull or is that fifth position single automatically?
Okay, no, so
Or-
it's actually reversed, which is a great ear that you have, because that is very correct. So it's using the other profile whilst it's down, which is the more passive output, because I kind of like more vintage, lower output sounds. So when we pull it up, it goes to that second voice with the on the humbucker, which is a little bit higher output, a little bit sort of meatier sounding. And then we pop that down to the first profile. And the cool thing is as soon as you go to that split position, it's all about the sort of hyper. We have a really, really pronounced split. And the other split works great for gain tones as well. But when you go to that clean tone, it's just like... It's a really, really, really nice split sound. Just inspiring.
Yeah.
And then if I go to something really, really dry, like the middle tone where we have the two outer coils, I think it is, together. That with an octave and a bit of wah. Beat. Do we have a beat still? A beat? So it's just
Damn,
like
man.
a really
That's amazing, man. It's like my ASMR channel. That's what this. That's what I feel like this is.
really versatile, and we have a different profile for that middle position. So turn that octave off. Let's put a little bit of echo on.
speechless. That sounds so damn good, man. Holy cow.
Thank you.
Man.
Yeah, I love them. And the thing is it's been a bit difficult because I've had these two guitars with these pickups for a number of months now. Mm-hmm. And when we stream, they're all I've been playing. And I think the big part of that, the big reason for that is how good they sound, the guitars themselves, but how good the pickups sound. You know, they're just so dialed into my type of sound and my voicings. So I'm like just so grateful that Kiesel and Fishman could voice the pickups that way. Well, Fishman voiced the pickups, obviously. So it's a big task, you know, as you'll know yourself, like trying to get the quirks and things that you love in a sound to translate into audio. It was a long task, but like I say, I'm just so happy with how they turned out. And it's like I'm sitting here, and so often I'm using this guitar or the other MCR guitar, and it's just like every time I pick up another guitar now, I'm like, oh, it just doesn't sound quite the same. And it's great that, you know, can just be so I guess hyped on something, you know, because everything that I play, I only use it if I love it, you know. It's just like nothing goes into the signal chain unless it's like absolutely perfect for the situation, you know. If some brand wanted to send, you know, the latest pedal out and a check for 10 grand, but it sucked, it would just be no chance it would go, like, any cables going into it.
Yeah.
And it's the same on every little piece of the signal chain, you know. I'm always tweaking and changing. It's all just stuff that I absolutely love and use for streams, for recording. The setup for the signal paths and chains, it's always like the same. So it's always getting tweaked for everything, for recording, for streaming and stuff as well. So, but yeah, so Fishman did an absolutely amazing job, and I'm just really, really stoked at how they turned out. And I'm so excited to see this guitar and other pickups starting to land with people now, because like just seeing what they do with this stuff,
it's a good feeling to see that. Yeah, I love that.
I haven't experienced that. This is my first guitar and first pickup, and you know, you've probably seen that a bunch.
It's so deserved, man. It's so deserved. Like
thank you.
Not just saying because we're here, not just saying because we're here for Fishman or anything, but yeah, it's so amazing to hear you're playing, to have this going on. What's nuts about Fishman is that no matter the genre, no matter the player, and I think they do a great job picking the players that they're going to have a custom with or signature with. They all sound amazing in such different ways, but it all sounds like it's Fishman. Like you and I are very different guitar players, but we both have Fishman customs.
True.
They both sound incredible. They both sound like us. I think what the pickups do, the way I've described it, maybe there's two points I want to bring up to you and see how you felt and if you experienced the same things. I remember the first time I put Fishman Moderns into my live guitar, I noticed that all of a sudden my timing was better. It felt like there was less latency, even though technically maybe there's not really latency on a guitar with pickups directly into an amp with nothing in between. But I felt like there were milliseconds better, milliseconds closer to I'm striking, there's the impact. And I felt using the other pickups that I used to use for forever, it was my playing was sluggish from those pickups. So I noticed this like zero latency playing, and I noticed the other thing that it does great. It's the same way the metaphor I've used for our producer Josh Wilbur, for example. There are some producers out there that no matter what record they make, it sounds like it's that producer doing that band's record. But I feel like the Fishman pickups, what Josh Wilbur does, like this kind of example, is it accentuates what that musician sounds like. This sounds like McRocklin playing McRocklin. And then my Fishman sound like me playing me. And I love that the fact that it keeps that honesty there with gear.
It's that just absolutely hits the nail on the head. I think that is so true. And it's just, I totally get what you were saying with the latency. And for me, I have a very I have a lot of attack in my sort of playing, and I dig quite hard with the pick and stuff. And for me, it's not a brightness thing. It's that direct, pure attack where you almost hear the pick hitting the strings, and you can get so much articulation. And I think all of that stuff is what Fishman really helped to bring out, as well as all the tone benefits for me when I'm sitting and recording and stuff like that. My previous pickups, I used to get this a lot. Like, where's the sweet spot? Like contorted. I've got the sweet spot. But as soon as I changed over to like Fishman pickups, everything was just silent. And when I did a show for the first time in a long time, and I hadn't used Fishman live, suddenly when I was on a stage, everything was so much quiet in terms of zzz and buzzes from the guitar. And that was like a massive thing. I was like, oh, that's changed a lot since the last time I was on a stage with like wedges all over the place. So loads of benefits for like noise, signal, just purity, but all of that would be like worthless unless they sounded as good as what they do. And luckily for both of us, they sound hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah, I could tell in
the
power chords you're doing, they're kind of chromatic down by the bottom, like around 3-2, 2-1.
Yeah.
I can hear that you're picking hard. And that's the other thing I always tell people. I pick super hard as well for my rhythms.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of just really great guitar players, but they pick, kind of soft. And I feel like you can hear when it's a harder pick versus not. And I think the Fishman really accentuates that. Like you feel the attitude through the hands that are creating the initial tone, and it's exaggerated.
Definitely, yeah. I have to be careful because I pick quite aggressively, but at the same time you do it skillfully, hopefully, so you're not affecting the tune. And, you know the deal. But if I move up and pick gauge from I use a 1.0, if I go to a 1.5 and I start picking aggressively for a couple of hours the next morning, I'm I have really pains up my wrists and stuff after.
Yeah, I've been watching your hands and seeing how your fingers are so perfect. I was kind of jealous because you see this one.
Oh, dude! Well, I saw on your socials, and
it's from Jiu-jitsu and it's irreversible unless I do the surgery. But if you do the surgery, it's permanently fused like this, and I need to be able to go like this. So I'm hoping it's okay. I'm thinking it's all right. But yeah, now every time I was looking at Corey's fingers at practice, I'm jealous of perfect fingers. I saw yours.
I have to be so careful because one of the sports that I got really into again, basketball.
Yep, I remember doing that with that.
Yeah, and now when I go play, I'm literally just doing drills and playing. I've put a sort of a self-ban on. I had a tiny little ding on one finger. Actually, it wasn't even from playing basketball. It was from diving into a pool. But this tiny little just nush, pushing the wrong way. Maybe it just hyperextended it just by a few mil. But I literally had to take a week off from just this one small thing. And I was thinking, dude, you're getting into competitive 5-on-5 sprints for 2 hours, multiple times a week. It's just, at some point, the worst is going to happen. So I'm okay, got to knock that on the head, just go along, do drills, shoot, practice, and just treat it, for working out. But I love basketball. It's the only sport that I got really into. So I'm but
yeah, I love jiu-jitsu so much. And I'm always it is the best and worst thing. And I talk about this with people that aren't musicians as well. It's the best and worst thing for your mind and your body. Yeah, because jiu-jitsu, it makes you physically fit, but there's always something happening. And then the mental problem is it's great. It's like psychiatry, it makes your body and your brain feel good, but you become addicted when you don't go. So this happened as a freak grappling injury. I was I'll go back tomorrow. Maybe it'll work itself out. And here we are. It just keeps. Yeah. So I was watching fingers. Man, it'll get sore. Depending on training. I definitely prefer no gi. That's where that doesn't have the karate kind of outfits because you grab those, and that's where the injuries come in from because everything's grip based. So your opponent's job is to strip your grips. So normally I will always let go if I see a big strong grip strip coming in. But it was this phenomenal black belt who I was holding on to his part of his lapel, and he popped his hips in this direction. So I had no chance to see it, and it just threw it out of place. And what starts to happen is with the severe tendon injury, it almost shortens this side, lengthens this side, and it's just off track. But anyway, there's that ADHD. I was watching. I was damn, man. So I keep
look at the fingers.
yeah. I did find gloves that help with grappling, but it only helps so much. And same thing with basketball. I remember when I played a little bit, the finger scuffs. I've got what I call cauliflower finger. It's from grappling because I would do tape. I would do tape to protect a bit, but it's just pre-arthritis or post-arthritis. But anyway, kids, just watch your hands. Watch your hands.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny because the last couple of weeks that I was playing basketball, was a troll that said play with gloves on. I was literally guarding people like this. And, some of them knew that I played guitar and made content, but some of them didn't. And I'm God, I'm this.
They're going to fight them,
start swinging. Yeah, what's this guy doing? I'm so paranoid, It's
I wonder if the gloves I use would help. I use these gloves that put the fingers like Danny DeVito penguin style, but basketball, still the ball does that stuff.
Hyperextending, and I think it's always it's normally other people that cause
Oh, yeah.
issues just
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're reaching in, they're doing something unexpected. It's like, well, and they're like, oh, sorry, but then your finger's like,
Yeah,
it's
I was
really
thinking
bad,
about like
so-
yard gloves, like yard work
Yeah.
gloves, but maybe we would both
Yeah.
look ridiculous doing that. You could wear boxing gloves. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's what Troll said before in the chat. And by the way, I've been keeping an eye on the chat, and
That's awesome.
I've been enjoying all the conversations and kind words that's been going on there. So
there's
thank you, everyone.
So many amazing people in there. Deform just helped me out all at Gamescom. He was helping. He was basically just assisted me in that entire thing. Freezing Cathedral taught me how to mix. Like actually taught me how to, like I've always been in studios, 10 records with Trivium, and I'd never properly learned because I was in the action of it recording. So Freezing's been teaching me how to mix, and Schleif helps with clips. Yeah, it's an amazing community that we both have, that you have, that I have, and it's a really
awesome.
wonderful thing that we can, work with awesome people that support us in the first place, support us some more. But speaking of which,
100%.
yeah, so back to it, everybody. Make sure schoolofmcrock.com. Make sure you check it out. You can get a free week. Check that out. You got the new McRocklin custom Fishman pickups out right now. Get them on Fishman, Tomans, Sweetwater. Get them everywhere. I love Fishman. He loves Fishman. You love Fishman. YouTube members page as well for McRocklin, but the main one's School of McRock. Man, freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
What
thank you.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. What do we got coming
No,
up?
absolutely, go for it.
What do you got coming up next? Musical, or we got another record coming out? Some singles? Any content?
I've got something massive in the works.
Oh shit!
But I hate to say, but I can't go into details.
I know how that goes.
I know, yeah. So that is something I'm really excited about. For me, the next thing is going to be the McRocklin and Hutch album. We've just finished an album, and like a lot of cases, it's got delayed just down to artwork. And it was just really difficult to get the right people to get involved with the artwork, and we wanted to do something really specific. The album's been done. We've got some really cool guest musicians on this album, so that's been really fun. So that's probably about maximum a month away from being launched, and then I think we'll do some solos, because some really cool solos, and then that's going to be solo breakdowns on School of McRock with all of the insights and backing tracks and all the fun stuff. But then I think after that, I'm really keen on just expressing more of my personality on a record. So I'm going to get back to working on my next solo record whilst working on this other secret project.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see what that is.
Yeah.
Hearing some of the riffs you were playing, I don't know if you ever wanted to do this. I'm so curious what a progressive technical death metal album would sound like from you, because I think it would sound absolutely incredible. Like I hear it in my head with some of these riffs you're playing, these beautiful clean passages. I could just hear this like brutal death metal vocal. I don't know if you ever want to do that, but that's what I was like I want to hear that, at least a song from you someday.
That would be cool. I'm into it. Yeah, absolutely. So
if you need some vocals on it, I'll do vocals on the single. Let's go.
It's a deal.
Let's do it.
It's a deal. That's awesome, man. Thank you.
I can just hear this cool, like 7 to 9 to 10 minute progressive acoustic, clean stuff. There's this really cool heavy riffs you're doing. I heard it in my head while you're playing. I saw the pieces.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
you
that.
let me know.
Yeah.
You let me know.
There we go. Matt and McRocklin tag team there, Mary's saying. Nice.
Awesome. Well, truly
Amazing.
incredible to get to know you so much better than I ever had before.
Likewise.
This has been a blast for me. That's why I've seemed like a giddy child during this, but it's been so cool to hear these tones and watch the playing and kind of being able to pick your brain. I've always wanted to know more about you and your playing and your path. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this wonderful Fishman Presents chat between Matthew K. Heafy, myself, and the incredible Mick Rocklin. Make sure you check out schoolofmcrock.com. Make sure you check out the McRocklin custom pickups available right now through Fishman. Get them through any great person and any great vendor that sells the amazing Fishman pickups. We'll see you next time for another Fishman Presents.